What's up YouTube, Ryan here, and welcome back to my channel. I've come to the realization that most people out there don't really know how traditional technology sales works. Most of us probably just think that when a large organization like a Target or a Home Depot or even a small mom and pop shop, if you have a local pizza shop as an example, that they go directly to the vendor, the manufacturer like a Microsoft or an Amazon and say, hey Microsoft, I need 2,000 licenses of Office 365. Can you give those to me? Well, sure, that works in some cases, but in most cases, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So I want to walk you through something called the sales channel in today's video. But rather than explain what the sales channel is, let's take a look at an example and we'll go from there. Let's take Bed Bath & Beyond as an example. I'm sure all of you at one point or another, especially if you're in the US, have walked into a Bed Bath & Beyond. They have over 1,500 locations, and let's say today, just as an example use case, they're struggling with their physical endpoints, aka their workstations, aka their computers, across all these different locations, right? So they may have a team or 5 or so IT individuals that are entirely responsible for managing these physical endpoints. That's all they do. So they do things like security patches, they might do operating system updates, application updates, hot fixes. If there's any troubleshooting that needs to be done, though, they might actually visit these various locations to troubleshoot them, replace the hardware across all of these. This is just not ideal for a large organization like Bed Bath & Beyond. There has to be a better way than having 5 dedicated resources to manage these physical endpoints. Let's not even talk about from a security perspective. Maybe these workstations don't have the security controls that are necessary in today's environment. So they're looking for a solution that can overcome their current challenges today. Typically, if we take a look at a company like a Bed Bath & Beyond, they would typically have partners that they work with to vet out solutions based on their specific needs. So these partners, they're often called value-added resellers, service providers, managed service providers, just different names based on what they offer in the industry. And these service providers, these value-added resellers, will work with Bed Bath & Beyond to understand their pain points. They'll provide technology recommendations based on those pain points, and they'll also potentially help deploy and manage the solution moving forward. So if we look at the actual solutions, that we're presenting to Bed Bath & Beyond, that this value-added reseller is actually demonstrating to Bed Bath & Beyond, these are created by something called a vendor or a manufacturer. So if we look at Office 365 as an example, that's, the vendor for Office 365 is, of course, Microsoft. If we look at Gmail, that's the vendor is Google. Google created Gmail and they sell Gmail business licenses to different companies out there. And then if we take a look at, the overall reseller market, right? A value-added reseller, what they'll do is they might actually go and do their research and look at various vendors that are out there. Things like, in this case, they might look at things like HP, Dell, iGel, Cisco, you name it, any type of solution that offers endpoint solutions that are easy to manage, that are secure, that can overcome those pain points for Bed Bath & Beyond. So once the partner, a value-added reseller vets out these different solutions, from there they'll typically bring on either a technical resource that they have in-house that might be they might have an expertise in endpoint type solutions, or if they don't have that, they might actually ask the vendor and be like, hey, Mr. Vendor, hey, hey, iGel, hey, Dell, can you bring on a sales engineer or an account executive to help out with this opportunity and walk the customer through how this solution could potentially overcome their challenges. Typically, they'll do some sort of proof of concept solution if things go well from that initial conversation and it hits all the check marks from that initial call. And that way they'll be able to vet out exactly which solution solves their pain points the best. And then behind the scenes during the entire process, the value-added reseller is typically working with something called a technology distributor to do things like create quotes from these various solutions. And in most cases, these quotes are done through a very key strategic distributor distributor, and the distributor is there and is responsible for working with the vendor and that value-added reseller to provide additional value during the transaction process. Oftentimes, these distributors, they play a key role with things like simplifying the quoting process, helping transacting the actual PO if the customer is ready to buy. They might even provide financing to the value-added reseller should it be like a multi-year opportunity and they don't have the credit or the financing to support that type of opportunity. We may even be able, or the distributor may even be able to provide them with pre-sales technical resources as well as sales resources to help drive that opportunity along the way. So if we take this from a simpler form, right, the flow kind of works like this. So we have a customer. Let's take Bed Bath & Beyond, or like a Barnes & Noble as an example. They identify that there's a technology need, that they have a pain point and they need technology to solve for that pain point. The value-added reseller is going to be reached out to, or multiple value-added resellers will be reached out to by Barnes & Noble and saying like, hey, I have this pain point. Do you have suggestions for me? They'll go out, they'll reach out to different vendors to identify, what specific solutions might overcome that. The value-added reseller will start scheduling meetings with the potential vendors to understand their solutions more if they don't have a current understanding of it. Ideally, they would have a subject matter expert that can already provide suggestions because they've worked on these use cases before. But if that's not the case, they'll go out and they'll try to understand the vendor solutions. They'll also start scheduling meetings with their customer and the potential vendors so they can, see if it meets those specific use cases and have a deeper dive conversation. Meanwhile, they'll engage the distributor partner to start creating out different quotes, different processes in place so they can present the pricing to the customer along the way. So if the customer says, yeah, this hits every single mark, can I see the pricing? They'll have that quote ready to go. Behind the scene, there's some things that occur as well, things like deal registration, discounts, all that good stuff, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to get paid. Customer's going to buy the actual solution. Value-added reseller is going to help with the services and selling the solution. Vendor's going to get paid because they're selling their actual technology solution, and then the distributor gets a small margin as well for helping with the transaction process. And then lastly, the customer will probably go in, they'll look at all the solutions that are out there. They'll proof of concept one or two of the solutions to see if it meets their specific criteria. If it does, they'll go ahead and submit that PO, and then everyone's happy. Everyone's getting paid, and the customer gets a solution to solve for that pain point. All right, so that was a very quick and expedited explanation of how the sales channel works. So again, main things to keep in mind are you have your customer, your value-added reseller, aka your service provider, aka your managed service provider. You have your distributor, and then you have your vendor, aka your manufacturer. So there's typically 4 key players that happen when we talk about transacting a technology sales through the sales channel. If any of you found this helpful and you would like a deeper dive explanation, let me know. Let me know if that would be an interesting video, or if a short explanation is good enough for all of you. And again, if you like today's video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up for me. Subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell notification so you get informed every single time I post a new video. And yeah, if you have any questions, write in the comment box below. If not, thanks for watching. Bye all.